the Everything But Politics podcast.
All right, boom, here we go. Everything But Politics podcast. We're back. We're live, joined by Brayden Figueroa, a.k.a. B. Figgy. Brayden, welcome to the show, brother. It's great to meet you.
Welcome. Let's go, guys. I'm hyped to be here. Hyped to chat with your group today. I think we're going to have a ton of fun. So I'm stoked to see what you guys got for us in store.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Also, host of the 505 podcast, which is what led me to you. You guys have a really cool show. So excited to get into that. But prior, tell us about your upbringing at the racetrack, your relationship with horses, and, maybe how that's led to where you are today.
Yeah, that's a great question, and one I really haven't talked a lot about. But my family actually races horses down here in Southern California. My grandpa was originally like the person who kind of got them all into this. So he was kind of like Jordan of quarter horse racing. It's kind of like the best way I can put it. Like imagine in like NBA terms, he won the NBA championship 12 years in a row, undisputed, like greatest in quarter horse racing. Then he passed away when I was super young. So I was 12 years old, I believe, when he passed away. And so I was a little too young to kind of take over that business, but he kind of shaped a lot of the entrepreneurial spirit that I definitely have. And I learned a lot about business and like, from a super young age, I was just around, a very hungry entrepreneur. And if I remember when I was super little, he'd like given me a horse. He's like, you kind of get to decide like what we do with this one. And so like I was negotiating with people when I was like 10 for, this horse and how much it would go for and all that good stuff. So I learned, I think, a lot about business at a really young age because he just kind of treated me like I was an adult and let me in the room for these fun conversations. So I think it's something that I'll definitely get into later on in life as I make more money, because horses are very expensive.
Yes, they are.
Very expensive operation to run. Like, you really need to have a thick wallet to be able to play in that world. But they're still doing it. They've been doing it for, over 50 years now, which is pretty crazy. My mom, my dad together. And then I'm primarily in advertising world and in podcasting world. That's where I live now. So I have another company that we make videos for brands. I have a podcast that I've done 200 episodes of every single week, which is pretty crazy. We just passed 201 yesterday.
Congrats,
so you guys aren't far behind, which is awesome.
Yeah. Like I said, I want to get into the 505 podcast, but probably want to learn more about you before we do that.
Yeah.
Where in LA are you from? Where in Southern California are your roots?
I'm from a little town called Cypress, which is actually really close to the horse race track. So that's why they decided to like plop down there, because it's about 4 blocks away from the nearest racetrack where they set up shop. So like my family moved from Idaho. They used to live in Idaho and then moved down here because like the racing's year round because the weather's really good in California, right? So I grew up like in this weird double life because most of the kids in LA like don't grow up around horses. I was from Orange County, but like,
Yeah.
you're like 45 minutes south. But, I'm going to like a normal suburb, like regular elementary school, regular middle school, regular high school, but like the horse race track is right there. It's like a few blocks away. So I feel like in this weird double life of like city kid, but also like horse kid, like ranch kid, because we also had a ranch that was like an hour and a half outside of LA. So like, I was around horses like till he passed away. And then when he passed away, I was like kind of scarred from just the whole situation of like losing someone that young. And I kind of like distanced myself from it, but still was super entrepreneurial and was very interested in it. And, I just made a doc, which was super cool, about them winning. They won a really big race. They won a $2 million race a year ago. And I finally put it out. So I kind of followed this one horse of my dad's for 4 months as he like trained for this huge race. And then they won, which was insane. And I probably had filmed 10 horses up until that point, trying to get a big race to win.
Yeah.
Never worked out. So we were like, is this jinxing us to like film the horses like leading up to the race? But he ended up winning. It was super cool. It was an awesome little mini doc. It's like 5 minutes long. And I got to debut at my buddy Sam's Film Festival, which was cool.
Very cool. Awesome. So we're not really familiar with that horsing scene. How many horses do you guys have? And how do you get into like a big race like the Kentucky Derby? Like how many races do you have to win prior to getting?
Yeah. So what they do actually is a different breed. So the Kentucky Derby's thoroughbreds, which means like
Okay.
they're a little bigger, a little leaner, and they go around like the full circle, right? They run like a mile, right?
Yeah.
Quarter horses run like a drag race. They're like, track stars versus like a marathon athlete, or
Got
like
it.
someone running the 400, that's like a thoroughbred, but someone
Yeah.
running like a sprinter, those are quarter horses. So you get into the derby, similarly kind of how the quarter horses do it, but you get points. So there's like all these there's all these races throughout the year, and you rack up points by winning them or going like top 3, top 4, and they put your name on like this huge leaderboard. And then at the end, like you have to be paying in to get into the Kentucky Derby. That's how they get these purses to be so high, which is like how much money.
Gotcha.
So like, okay, it's $5 million. Well, there's a 800 horses. I'm making this number up. There's 800 horses that are trying to get in that think they have a chance. When they're babies, they got to make this decision. Like, hey, we're gonna start paying them up in this race. It's gonna be $1,000 a month or whatever the heck that number is. And so that's how all these horses pay into that purse, and that's what is the prize money at the end of the year when the Derby actually runs. But same thing in quarter horse land. You're really gambling on bloodlines. So you're taking a
Yeah.
bet, like, yo, mom did this, dad did this, they had this baby, it ran pretty well. We're gonna bet on this horse's bloodlines, and like we're gonna purchase it and then see it from, usually it's like a year and a half when they're called yearlings is when you buy them. And that's when you have like 6, 7, 8 months before they actually run their first race. So you're like, you've never even seen them run, and you're purchasing them and betting on, okay, mom and dad did this, composition is pretty good. I like the way they look and they walk and their feet are straight and all that good stuff. So
That's
it's
so
a
cool.
it's a totally different industry. They have, I think, 20 horses there right now that they're training.
Very,
Um,
very cool. Different world to us. I mean,
yeah,
enjoyable to learn about.
it's a totally different world. I mean, my dad's up at every day, 5 a.m. He's at the track, 6 o'clock. They train like heavily in the morning because it gets hot, so they
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to keep like everything cool. And then they go back at 3 o'clock and they feed them dinner, and that's boom. Yeah.
This episode of the Everything But Politics podcast is sponsored by Brick House Coffee Co.
For all my dark coffee lovers out there, Brick House Coffee has got you covered. Their black is a rich, bold profile for those who enjoy a bold cup with notes of dark chocolate. Now back to the show.
Very cool. Very different, and I appreciate you sharing
Awesome,
that.
dude.
That's new to us. So, your grandfather passes away, and you kind of distance yourself from that world. What from there? What did you kind of lean into?
Mostly just sports. I think
Yeah,
going into
same.
like high school and going into college, I went to the University of Oregon. That's how I kind of got into this whole camera content world.
Mhm.
I started working for the Ducks when I was a junior in college. So I was working full time while I was still in school. It was like, there was 3 kids in my fraternity that we were also like working together for this job, but one of our buddies kind of got us into it. Like, I was into YouTube. That's like how I got into the whole game of content. I really wanted to get into fitness and like be a fitness creator. So I was following a bunch of guys. Funny, I've like interviewed them now on my pod, but like I was
Yeah.
following these guys in the fitness space. This guy named like Christian Guzman
Yep.
kind of got me into YouTube. And I was like, man, I fucking hate what I'm doing right now in school. This sounds like way more fun being a creator. But people didn't really think it was a serious thing. People didn't know if that was actually going to be a real job or what that entailed. I'm like, dude, I'm seeing these guys making money. They got to be making money somehow. I don't know how, but I'm going to figure out what I need to do this job at the fullest capacity.
Well, what were you doing the first years of college? Were you just kind of being a college kid, or were
Yeah.
you?
I mean, like, I was hustling with the camera. Like, once I found out that I could make money with the camera, it was kind of a wrap. Like, I was off to the races. I was filming for like barbers, sororities, sporting events, fraternity events, like anything that I could film, I was filming. And it was like, I think I put out a YouTube video every week for, that whole freshman year of college. And then sophomore year, I started to really take it seriously. I was like, I'm getting pretty good at this. I can do stuff. And I was still making fitness stuff, but people in the fitness industry were like paying me to do their videos. And I was like,
Nice.
there's something here. Like, I was getting flown back out my end of my freshman year to LA to work for this one bigger fitness creator. And that's kind of when I was like, this is kind of limitless. Like, there's so many people
Mm.
that need videos. Like, it's never going to stop, I don't think. And that was just kind of my bet, was on social media becoming a thing, or like not becoming a thing because it was already very much so a thing, but really sustaining like massive jobs for people and big careers.
When you were doing video work with the Oregon Ducks, were you getting paid by the university, or was it a credit system thing?
No, there was a few of us that were getting paid. It was kind of messed up. Like the rest of them weren't getting paid, but there's like 3 of us that were getting paid.
Got it. I mean,
Cool.
like doing video, and like you're a fan too, right? It's not like it's some like job.
Yeah.
Like you're there, like
Yeah, it was fun.
your peers are all in on this. You happen to be on the field working and being a part of this all at once. So very cool. Yeah, that was badass.
You go to the Lakers, which has to be super cool as well. You see them win a NBA ring. What was that like?
Lakers was super cool. I was there for 5 years. So I did 5 years at the Lakers. After the Ducks, I moved to Bali when I was like right after I graduated. I was like, I want to live in Indonesia. I want to like try to build a company abroad. I had just read Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Workweek, and I was fascinated with this idea of earning US dollars and spending rupiah or pesos or just any sort of foreign currency. So you're really leveraging, the American dollar and how much we're making here and living in another country. And over there, I was kind of smacked in the mouth with how we were getting business. I really had no way that I knew of to get business. Like it always just kind of came to me when I was at school. Like I was just kind of known as like, this guy makes videos, so people would call me or DM me or whatever. When it came to being out there, cold emailing was super tough. A lot of them, like, they're 5 or 6 years behind because it's mostly Australian businesses that are set up in Indonesia. Like a lot of Aussies are like running companies in Bali. So that was a rude awakening that like we weren't going to be making tons and tons of money. And so like eventually my money ran out while I was out there. And I came back to California and I was living on my mom's couch. Like I still had my room, but I was working, like her couch was like my office. And I was emailing brands, like hundreds and hundreds of brands, trying to get on calls, trying to pitch my stuff. And it just was not working. And I saw a LinkedIn post for the Lakers and I was like, man, I said I'd never work for somebody ever again, but I could be persuaded to take a detour and go work for the Lakers. And I got that job. We won a championship the first year I was there, which is crazy. Got an NBA ring. And then, I spent 4 years just chasing around LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and it was fun. Like it was a super cool job.
So what was your specific role with the Lakers?
I was a video producer. So my job was to document practice, travel with the team, document games, help with campaign concepts, write, direct, shoot, all that good stuff. So we were making a lot of videos every month. That was my job. Like YouTube specialist, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff.
Were you working solo or did you have a team with you?
No, there's a team. Honestly, the Lakers have a really small team, comparatively to I think how much output we had and the level of corporate sponsor money that we had, because that's how NBA teams really make a majority of their money. It's not by like merchandise. Like merchandise makes up I think like 0.5% or 1%.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's really cheap because the NBA actually owns the licensing for the teams. That way, like none of the teams can pull out and go create like their own league. The NBA owns that stuff.
Wow.
So it's kind of a way to like keep the league together, but a way that like a majority of the way that they make money is by their corporate sponsors, their season ticket members, and their TV deal. And like we had a huge deal. I believe it was 100 biggest jersey sponsor like ever, and probably it's gone up now, but it was like I think it was like 100 million at the time. It was like BB Go.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting, like the business of the NBA and like how they make money, and like we were, a really big part of how the brand would operate. Like we were the engine for all of those corporate sponsors needing content, like having to come up with ideas and sell those people ideas, and then make all that stuff for them.
Now, during your time with the Lakers, were you at every single game?
Pretty much. I mean, we would take a handful of games off because it's 82 games. It's a lot of games.
But you go to away games too, yeah?
Yeah, but we would rotate. So, you travel with the team, you're put up really nice in like the nicest hotels in the country, but you're rotating so you're not like exhausted because the hours are long. Like
Yes.
sports is kind of a never turning off job. You're constantly like on call pretty much. Like it'd be like,
Okay.
it'd be Friday night. Like, yeah, we need someone to do this tomorrow morning. Like, okay, that's great. Like you don't really own your time in sports. So I think it's a job specifically for younger folks. Like I knew that I wasn't going to be there forever. I was like, this is going to be like a stint in my life and I'm going to commit myself to it. I'm going to do it. But I know that this is going to kind of suck for, some of these periods of time. But for the most part, it was really fun and I really enjoyed it.
Well, it's ironic because I've heard you say that out of college, you had said to yourself, I'm never working for anyone again. And then you go to the physically, mentally taxing and demanding job of the Lakers. That's going a full 180, right?
Yeah, I just, I knew that it would be so powerful in who I would meet and like growing my brand. I knew
True.
that I was going to meet so many cool people working that job. It would be great leverage for anything else that I would ever do. And the videos that I made got seen by, billions of people, like,
Yeah, that's
which is
crazy.
great, which is crazy to think of.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even like fathom how many people were seeing these videos, It's like, especially during runs where some of them would go just nuclear, they'd get, so many millions of views. And
Yeah.
that's happening every time you post. It's like the fan base is so global. So it was cool when you would see comments like, who's the video person, like that. Those are like really cool to see, like randomly in some of those comments.
And they won it all.
Yeah, what was it like winning an NBA championship ring?
So I wasn't there actually in the bubble. Like only one person went to the bubble. It was a guy who had been there a lot longer than me. He'd been there for like 4 more years than me. But he went. I was remote editing like all of his clips. So we would literally be on like an AirPod call, and he would like unmute himself and be like, "There's a banger play coming," because you're 20 seconds behind.
Yeah, true.
So I could hear it be like, it'd be like, oh, like there's a dunk coming, and then you'd see it on the screen, and I'd be like, okay, and he'd be like, he'd edit it on the floor and send it to me, and then I would cut. He would actually, how we were doing it, he was sending me. Oh shit, he was sending me the raw clip at the time, so he would like send me the raw clip. Boom, I would edit it, post it up, and be done.
Wow.
What do you edit on?
I was on Premiere.
Okay.
Yeah. When he was recording the clips, was he using a real camera or an iPhone? Like, how was he getting it to you so quickly?
He was using a real camera. We just had a system with this one cord that we found that we were able to transfer it directly to your phone and then Slack it to each other.
What's up, guys? One podcast, one song every week. Podcast on Mondays, music on Fridays. Check it out.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So this is a good pivot. So life-changing opportunity with the Lakers, championship ring. Then you finally decide my time has come. Talk to us about the decision to go in on podcasting and what is the 505 podcast?
Yeah, the 505 pod. I started the 505 pod with my good buddies that I was living with, Chase and Costas. Chase doesn't do it with us anymore. It's just me and Costas, but it was really just to help the younger version of ourselves in like the photo video land. But we realized after like 2 years that there wasn't going to be as much that we could do in just photo video land. We needed to broaden out. And I was getting bored with a lot of the conversations that we were having around just the specific creative space. I was like, I think business is super interesting. Marketing is very interesting. Branding is interesting. Personal branding, super interesting. Why don't we broaden out the net and see if we can see success with a more general guest than someone who's just like, I do photo or I do video. And I think one of the episodes, we went back and we're looking at the episodes after we were debating, like, should we pivot the show? Should we not pivot the show? And the episodes that were clearly outperforming were more broad and more about business. And it just kind of smacked us on the head. Like, if we really want to take this thing where we think it can go, we kind of need to go in this direction. And as a lot of podcasts do, like, you even look at like Diary of a CEO, for example, that started out as only business. I would argue that now it's a lot of health, it's some business, but it's much more health, AI, things that are really trending right this second and things that are hot, not only business owners, because you run out of guests, It's like there's even going to be a point, and I'm feeling this now, where we still are going to have to broaden out even more to get more people to be on the show, to then grow the show more. and
Yeah.
like keep providing bigger and better guests.
Well, so you had this, I guess, niche, if you will, and maybe some of it was narrow, some of it was broad, and the broad was doing better. At what point did you guys have the light bulb moment for the intersection between creativity and business? Because I love that. That's a great. I don't even know if I call that a niche, but like it is, but it's like a motto, right? It's like a slogan. When was that created?
I was just thinking about, where we're going to take the show. And I'm like, you hit both buckets. I
Yeah.
think that we're in the creative space, but I'm much more interested in the business side of what we're doing here. So, for example, we could have a CEO of Bloom on who's
Yes.
more on the
Yeah.
business side, but it's also in the same way very creative because they're coming up with creative concepts for their campaigns and they're launching products and their branding super important. So you kind of hit all the different things. And I think it just allows you to have a more diverse group of guests on than just like, are you a photographer or are you a videographer? That was originally who we were talking to. And then you realize how little that niche is. It's a very small group of people. Like, and the spending power of that group is nothing comparatively to a business category. So what brands are willing, you have to really think about with whatever you do, what is like the business model that you're going to sell? So let's use advertisers. Photo video advertisers suck. No money. They don't understand advertising. They're really like slow to this game. Whereas like a Squarespace, for example, they pay money to podcasts all the time. They understand the value of like a specific targeted group for that needs a website and how much they'll pay for it and like what that converts for them. So I saw the brand money was obviously a lot different as well in the business category, and what you're able to get from YouTube, which is your CPM. So what advertisers are willing to pay is a lot higher in a more of a business or a marketing category than it is in creative land. It's like literally half as much. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So, like as mentioned before, I think we started recording. We're coming up on year 4 here. Know what the last 3 were like. Talk to us about your year 1 of the 505 podcast.
Year one was just about trying to show up every week, but I don't feel like we started podcasting until 7 months ago.
So, what would you say you were doing prior to that?
Prior to that, I think there's no trailer to the podcast. There's no, we're just kind of showing up. The questions are there. Like I think where our edge was our questions were better than other smaller pods. Like we really put a lot of effort into the questions. My business partner Costas is insane at the questions. I tend to just stalk their channel. Like I just listen to tons and tons of content. Like if it's a book or if it's videos, whatever. Like I tend to do more of that. He really sets up the structure for the pod. So I yeah, I think the biggest differences were thumbnails were horrific. There was not good titles. The titles suck. You really need to be thinking if you're trying to be successful on YouTube about title, thumbnail, posting consistently. That's obviously super important. And front loading the most important stuff, like something that we don't do that we never really did in the beginning because we talked to a very big podcaster early on, and they were like, don't start with don't start with something that's not the reason for them coming to the show. Like if the title is going to be around business and entrepreneurship, then you shouldn't start with someone's backstory. It should go right into like business and entrepreneurship. And then if you want to talk about their backstory, you can talk about it later. But a lot of the people that are bigger, they've already said their backstory 14,000 times. Like Gary Vee's like, oh, I grew up in Belarus. I came to New York. I like the Jets. I wore the number 5 jersey. My mom knitted that for me. Like there's a script that they have, So it's not like I need to say, Gary, tell me about what it was like to come here from Belarus. It's been said before, So trying to think about what is something that we can pull from this person or extract that no one else really knows, or we think they can go deeper on and give more value to this specific group.
And when it comes to the YouTube titles, the SEO, and of course thumbnails, how did you guys improve rather than just changing it? What were some of the movements or moves you made to improve that?
I think AI has been super helpful for us in researching what keywords are trending on YouTube. And the other thing now is One, it has to be under 70 characters. It can't go over 70 because then it gets the ... Like you want to be able to have it, boom, like I can see exactly what's going on. The other thing I think is seeing it on a grid. So screenshotting YouTube and putting your thumbnail and your title there and saying like, does this go together? I think the thumbnail should enhance the title. Like they shouldn't be fighting against one another. They should be both going towards the same direction. You should read the I mean, personally, I go for the video thumbnail first. Like if you open YouTube, like just do it yourself, you will see your eyes probably don't go to title first, you go to thumb and then you glance down at the title. So if your thumbnail can't battle against 12 others and stand out, then you're already cooked right there. Like doesn't matter how good your video is. If they don't click, they're not watching. So it's like YouTube is not a video platform. It really is. It's a click platform. Like we're clicking on the video. We're serving it to ourselves. We're getting options, but it's really just up to us, like what we end up going with, right?
Yeah.
So thinking about that is super important. And then I think having options, because what we think might work, if the CTR drops, we're changing it quickly. You know, we're changing the thumb, we're changing the title, we're trying new things. We're not just like letting it sit, because it will die. If it starts to die, it is dying. It's not coming back.
Now, going back to that 7 months ago when you took it to the next level, were you experiencing or getting close to burnout?
No, I wouldn't say I was experiencing burnout. I think I'm always knee deep in like 16 things. So it's, as long as I'm sleeping well, I think I don't really think about like burning out. I think that all of them are a very long game to play. Like business is a very long game. It's not like I'm going to get rich in 1 year and everything's going to figure itself out. But I just knew something had to change. I'm like, the level, we've been doing this for too long and the views aren't showing. So there needs to be something here that switches up, or otherwise we're just going to get fucked. So we need to think about how to differentiate this. And is this something that we really want to do? Like, do we want to make it a career? Because this is what it looks like as a career. And go from there.
Well, and then creating Blue Stripe Productions, how did that kind of amplify the podcast as well, by learning from what these brands are doing and these deals you're creating, how you can kind of leverage that podcast in with your production company?
The pod has been great as a networking tool and as a proof of concept of we know what we're talking about in regards to media. But I wouldn't say they don't necessarily like work hand in hand. I think they're just good additions to one another. But I mean, you know, we did a spot this year for a brand who is the largest sporting event in the world, and I can't name the company because there's a crazy NDA, but you guys can figure it out. It happens every few years. And that was from the podcast. That was from someone listening to the podcast. So that was very cool and something that I didn't realize. Like you just really never know who's listening, you know? Like we'll get screenshots now from people that we've had on. I'm like, oh, I had no idea that you checked out our show or you listened to us. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and as like you said, you never know who's listening. As you have found out who's listening, where are most of your listeners coming from?
Most of them are YouTube. But like you're saying, like what space are they in? Or
Yeah,
what?
like what space are they in? And I guess wherever they physically found it, through clips? Is it through X, YouTube? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we don't do anything on Twitter. Most of them have found us via YouTube, like YouTube recommended, as well as, you know, a clipper here or there. But I think most of it's YouTube.
And why do you guys not do anything on X?
I just don't really be going on X like that, to be honest.
Got it.
Yeah.
So
We're really focused on Instagram as like a strong second platform, and then TikTok.
So those YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram are the big three for you guys.
Yeah. I think I'm on the same for me. Like really, it's like YouTube is the biggest focus because YouTube is the long form group, and the long form group is the stickiest group by far.
How about when it comes to growing your show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify? What are some growth strategies there?
We haven't done one thing, and I could care less about the audio because you don't make significant ad revenue from the audio. And
on Spotify?
Yeah, we're everywhere. But the views on Spotify, like you're not gonna get someone to come over from Spotify to YouTube. Like if they're listening on Spotify, they listen on Spotify. Like that's their platform.
Yeah.
But you're saying they'll come from YouTube to Spotify?
No,
Or Spotify to YouTube, excuse me.
No, I mean not
people to watch the log form with the video because that's where the ad pays,
exactly. So like we don't put the video on Spotify because I don't want them to have. If they want to watch a fucking video, they got to go to YouTube.
Interesting.
They're
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah, because you got to think the group for the most part though, like the group, myself personally, I don't watch on YouTube for the pods. I just pop it in my ear and I don't listen to a show religiously. I don't have a show and I'm like, I'm a fan of these people. I
Yeah,
just
same.
listen based on the guest. I'm like, do I want to hear what this person has to say? And am I interested in the guest? I'll throw it on. I have podcasts that I like more than others, but I'm really just going for the guest. I'm not going because I'm like, these are my two guys or this is my group, my dude, like,
Yeah.
girl,
I hear
like,
you.
you know.
How do you guys think about building an audience versus building a community?
Go deeper into that. What do you mean?
I mean, like audience are people that maybe, consume your clips, see your stuff, but a community, I feel, like you said, those people that are diehards, they listen to every episode, they buy products, they buy
Yeah.
merch, you understand?
Yeah, I think when I think about community, it's been built like guerrilla marketing in my DMs, just talking to people, and asking people what they want. Like, is replying to comments, getting people involved. If someone hits me up and they're like, "Yo, I really like your show," I'm like, "How can we make it better? When have you been listening? How long have you listened for? Where'd you find us from? What can we do to like help better serve you?" And I think when you always think about the lens of like, how can I serve the audience as well as I can, the community naturally gets built from that.
And at
Good
this
point.
point, is every episode you guys do in person?
No, we'll do some remote. I prefer them to be in person, but um, our highest viewed episode ever is a remote episode, so it doesn't necessarily, it doesn't have anything to do with the performance of it. If the content's good, the content's good.
Who was that episode with?
That was with Seth Godin on The Godfather of Marketing.
Okay. And when you guys are doing outreach, do you have a team working under you, or are you guys doing all the outbound for guests?
Yeah, now I have an AI bot that's doing a lot of it for me.
What AI bot?
I'm building it actually, but it's in Claude, so it'll go online for me and it'll search people up. It's pretty cool.
I kind of feel like Claude. The last 3 years, it's been ChatGPT dominant. I feel like Claude is really making a step forward. I mean, you're probably a little more tapped in than us, but what do you think about that statement?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think Claude is much better conversationalist than ChatGPT is more like a Google search for me. It's like quick. Like,
Yeah.
I want like a quick response. I'm going to use ChatGPT. But if I really like I'm doing something intensive, I'm using Claude.
That's so interesting. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's Are there any other AI um
Tools?
chats that you use?
Yeah, I use one called Relevance, which builds AI agents. Like you can basically program it to be like a little person. Like this person only reaches out to people. This person types emails, essentially. Another one that I just downloaded, it's called Manus. It was just bought by Facebook, and it's another really interesting platform, but I'm using it mainly for my Facebook ads and like learning about the data for what I'm doing because it directly links to Meta, which is super nice.
And with your AI bot that is doing outreach,
Mm.
what did you tell it about who to reach out to?
You just have to give it parameters for your show, depending on, who your guests are, what their ideal size is. Like I don't want to interview people that really aren't on YouTube. They need to be spectacular to not have a YouTube audience because it's really difficult. Even if someone has 500,000 on Instagram, the Instagram audience stays on Instagram. The YouTube audience is a totally different group of people, and we want that group. We don't want the Instagram group because they also just don't like they're not coming over to YouTube. Like yes, there's a small percentage of them for sure, but it's not they do not cross over.
Do you find there's an app or platform that does crossover?
No, not really. I mean, YouTube people go to Instagram. Like
Yeah.
they will go follow you on Instagram. But the one that's most important by far, what you want the group on is YouTube, you know?
Yeah.
Like I think like Instagram's kind of a byproduct of how our YouTube's doing. Like totally different content. The content is so different, but I'm much more focused on YouTube.
Do you guys post the same stuff everywhere? Like short form clips?
Yeah, the short form clips are just repurposed. And we've seen good success with that. In a perfect world, you're doing TikTok like isolated, it's only going on that platform, and it's like a very specific, different type of content. Same with LinkedIn, etc. But we do what we can.
Right. Well, how do you feel about LinkedIn?
I like
You-
LinkedIn. Yeah, I think like half the content's terrible, but there's some interesting stuff on there, and I found some good people to follow. But I don't enjoy scrolling on LinkedIn. I like YouTube
Yeah.
is by far my favorite platform. Like not even no competition.
YouTube, like when you're just chilling, YouTube Shorts over TikTok
Yeah.
or Instagram.
No. I don't like shorts. I like long form pieces of content. Like I like long form much better than I like short form.
What are you into currently?
Most of my whole feed is business. It's like people that are scaling companies, people that are in marketing or have built something really special. Like I like listening to those people because I think I can always like steal one thing and put it into what I'm doing.
So, like you said just previously, you had the founder Bloom Sups on recently. What was something you took away from that conversation?
Mm. Greg's a really cool guy. I think something that I took away from Greg would be keeping the main thing the main thing. They, were hyper focused on making the liquid awesome so people continue to buy. I think a lot of the beverage brands, they make a crappy liquid and they can acquire someone once, but then people don't stick. And I think it's the same thing with a podcast. Like, yeah, your branding and all that bullshit's important, but like really what's important is the show. Is the show good? Because if the show's good, people share the show. It's like look at Joe Rogan's thumbnails, his titles, they're not optimized for YouTube's algorithm in any way, shape, or form, but the conversations are elite. That's why it has continued to grow. Like he does not have to play the YouTube game like we have to play, you know? He's built up a brand for himself over a decade of podcasting to be able to just do what he does, and there's no one else that can do what Joe does.
Yeah. And he's almost like grandfathered in. Do you think there's anyone that could have elite conversations like that today without optimizing YouTube SEO and thumbnails?
Not unless they were super famous. No, not unless they're like McConaughey could probably get away with it, like someone that's very famous that has like a die-hard group of people, but not a regular person.
Oh, yeah, it's a fascinating world. And speaking of fascinating people, in addition to the Bloom Subs guy, you've had Gary Vee on.
Yeah.
We've been fans of Gary Vee for a long time. How did that come to fruition?
A DM 8 years later that he responded to. He responded to my co-host over DM and randomly responded to a question that he had, and then we kind of were like, you know what, maybe next time you chat, we should just shoot a shot to ask him to be on the pod. And it was during Christmas, he had re-hit my boy up and was like, hey, Merry Christmas from Gary. And I'm like, just ask him to be on the pod and say we'll fly to New York any day, anytime. And he was like, I want to make a bet. Like, I think you guys are gonna be I think you guys are gonna be a good like a big pod. So I'm down. You guys got to come out though. So then we flew to New York and we made it happen. It was crazy. We almost missed our flight got canceled and we had to get on another flight. It was the most stressful thing of all time. But we flew in at midnight and then potted with him the next day like 11 o'clock, which is crazy.
Any big guests coming up for you guys that you're excited about?
Think in these next few weeks, we just had Dan Martell on yesterday. Yeah, he's big in business and AI
Yeah.
land. He's huge. He was super fun. It was like one of my favorite conversations we've ever done. We just did. Who else did we just do this last week? I'm blanking. Oh, we put out Omar El Takrari, which is cool. We did a solo pod, which is super fun. And then we also have a guy by the name of Tyler Dink who he owns Beehive, which is like a newsletter platform, and they're doing really well and growing like a weed. So he'll be super fun and next weekend, I think.
When you guys do a solo pod, what does that look like with the two of you going at it?
Usually we're teaching something. So usually it's in regards to selling digital products online or building a personal brand or content or something in that realm, because that's what we like. That's how the pod also makes money. We sell digital products. So I've gotten a lot of experience over the last 10 years of doing that. So I think we have a lot to share on that topic.
Awesome. Well, Brayden, if we do this podcast again in 5 years, where do you see the 505 podcast? If we do everything but politics again with you in
Yeah.
5 years, where do you see the 505 podcast?
Oh, I think the 505 pod's a household name. I think it can be number one in its category. It's just a matter of time. Just need to keep posting. which I'm
Awesome.
super excited about.
Awesome. Yeah, dude, I've been excited for this pod. I'm happy we finally got to get you on. Those listening want to keep up with you, the show, all else. What's
Be
the best
Figgy
way? Be Figgy everywhere.
everywhere, everywhere. Thank you
Awesome.
guys. This is super fun.
Be
I've
Figgy,
learned a lot.
appreciate you, man.
Yes,
Be
thank you.
well, and wish you continued success, brother.
Let's go.
All the best.